And welcome to the Affiliate Spotlight, a brand new production of the Libertarian Party and Libertarian National Committee, Joe Bishop, Henchman Chair. As always, if you watched our production on Friday night, it's John Gapso on the big board. My name is Pat Ford. I'm your host. I'm the proud chair of the Libertarian Party of Rhode Island. So as if you didn't have another night that you couldn't dedicate to libertarian programming, well, here we are. Shows like this, I hope, the ultimate extension of the vision behind LPTV. Opportunity to be issues, members, affiliates, chairs, candidates to you. We talk about events, issues, best practices, the opportunities for affiliates, the opportunities for individual members, the opportunities for candidates. That's what LPT is all about. Tonight and every night, we're going to take an opportunity to focus on individual affiliates. We had started this effort out, if you will, as an extension of an hour with the candidates. But what we found is about 30 to 35 minutes of conversation with individual candidates once per week seems to be just right. And at the same token, the Affiliate Support Committee saw fit to create a variety of programs and functions this year to encourage affiliate support, both on a financial, both on a moral, if you will, on a spiritual level. And we realized that let's take one night per week and spend a half hour or so with an individual who's fundamental to the affiliate development program at each state. And over the next year, we hope to literally wind through every individual state. Folks, if you want to join us for future programming, whether it be the candidate show or our brand new effort here, the affiliate show, just reach out to me. My name is Pat Ford. I'm all over Libertarian social media. Give me a call, drop me a message in my DMs, whatever works. But let's make sure we talk, and let's make sure we get every candidate and every affiliate their opportunity to show off a little bit, perhaps spike the football, and give advice, maybe answer a question that you might not even know you had. Joining us for tonight's inaugural event, and I appreciate him willing to be the first one, is Evan McMahon. He is the development director for the Indiana Libertarian Party, or as it's known on the web, the Libertarian Party of Indiana, one of our great affiliates, and with their own, well, in fact, let's be blunt, it was on display during the gubernatorial election this past year. Great candidate. He'll tell us more about that. But again, the harness to, if you will, the ability to harness organizations all over the state of Indiana, as a diverse a state as we've ever seen, was incredibly important to Mr. Rainwater and to everyone running for office in Indiana. Evan, welcome to the Affiliate Spotlight.
Thank you, Pat. It's great to be here. I think this is an amazing program for affiliates across the country to hear from each other about what works in their state and get ideas for what you can try in your home state, and just spotlight the successes. It's something that we need to do more of. We need to, see, pat each other on the back and say congratulations and good job. So I'm glad you guys are doing this.
Absolutely. We say this virtually every week on our candidate show. Embrace your successes. This has been as challenging a period of political history as this country has ever seen, arguably as this world has ever seen. The fact that as a party we continue to grow despite all the obstacles placed in our path is really based on the efforts of individuals coming together under the libertarian flag, if you will, and voluntarily contributing amazing efforts. So you're right. Let's spike the football a little bit, as we like to say here. Evan, give us a little bit of your history in the Libertarian Party. If you were a candidate, I'd probably ask you the same question. How did you get here? If I can quote David Byrne.
Sure. So I grew up in politics. When I was about 6 years old, my aunt was looking for fun things for me and her to do together. And she had a family friend who was running for the legislature here in Indiana, not as a libertarian. And we went and volunteered on her campaign. We went door to door and we stood out in front of, businesses, passing out her literature and stuff like that. And I got hooked. We basically volunteered at every level of campaigning within our county, helping out each cycle, each year. And I was hooked. And then I got involved with my city council as a youth. In junior high and high school, I was appointed to a couple of committees for the city council on youth issues. And from there, I started working, actually being paid to work on campaigns. And a few years ago, I got disillusioned with the party that I mostly worked for. And a great man here in Indiana named Mark Rutherford kind of said, "Hey, pardon my language, but don't you feel kind of like a whore? Like you don't really believe in the people that you're helping get elected. Why don't you switch parties and actually feel good in the morning?" And he was right. And so I did. Took a huge pay cut and started working within the party, the Libertarian Party. That was 2010. And I've not regretted it one day since. Since then, I've worked on campaigns up and down the ticket across the country, been involved in petition drives, helped Illinois back in, I think it was 2014, went there for a couple of weeks to defend their signatures for their statewide race, which was, I believe, the first time that they were ever successful in doing that. And it wasn't because of me. I was just another body there, but it was the concerted effort to do it that made it successful, that they had a large group of people willing to come in and help. I ran Nick Sarwark's campaign, our former chair, when he ran for mayor of Phoenix. That was a very successful campaign. We actually hit all of our targets. We looked for a certain number of voters, and that was our target. Had there not been a giant blue wave, Nick would have made it into the runoff because we absolutely hit those numbers. Ran campaigns here in Indiana, served on my county party, served on my state party board. I've served as an at-large on the LNC in 2014, and was the executive director of the Libertarian National Campaign Committee for a few years. So Tim McGuire, the state chair here in Indiana, a couple of years ago, asked me, he was like, "Hey, I want you on the board. I want your institutional knowledge. What job do you want to do in the state party so I can get you on the board?" I was like, "I don't know. How about development director? That sounds like a good job. That's one that needs filled." He was like, "Okay, cool. Go do that." And since then, it's been about growing our membership, growing our affiliates, and trying to build the party up from an infrastructure level. And now we find ourselves to today where we're killing it in Indiana, and we've got a great team of people behind us. We've got some great county affiliates, some great chairs, some great candidates, and the best part is the Republican supermajority keeps giving us lots of great things to talk about and turn their own base against them. Because they keep doing dumb stuff in the legislature or the governor's mansion. So, yeah, that's my history. That's why I'm a libertarian, how I'm a libertarian. I want to be left alone. I don't want a government to bother me, and I don't want my government bothering my neighbor. I want to be able to make my own decisions, and I don't want my choices pushed on other people. I am a leave me alone libertarian and leave everybody else alone type of libertarian. Hence the taxation is theft with the grenade right above it.
Now you're also you've got a creative life as well, don't you?
I do.
Tell us about that, please.
I work in the film industry, producing and directing independent horror films, as you can see by some of the pops up there. I'm really into horror films, and I run a streaming service specifically for independent horror films, kind of like Shudder, but cooler because it's more independent and less commercial.
That's outstanding. And folks come from so many different backgrounds in the libertarian movement. We've got a very strong influence of younger veterans, young men and women who served in the Middle East in a variety of the police actions that have taken place over there. And certainly that's had an impact, if you will, on the makeup of the party, the success of the party, the support within the party. It's been a wonderful addition. But at the same time, speak to, your creative background. And so as a result, why personal independence and freedom is so very important to you.
Well, I grew up, I'm a gay man, and I was attacked when I was a young person in junior high and high school. And government wasn't there for me. Government basically told me the best thing for me to do to be safe was to drop out of school or to move out of town. And I lived in the most liberal city in the state of Indiana, and I was being told that as a teenager.
Wow.
And I decided that I could not rely on the government or the state to protect me, that I needed to be able to protect myself. So now today, when I talk to LGBT groups or other minority groups, I say, it's really hard to get gay bashed when you have a 45 on your hip. So every one of us has our own personal experiences, our own life events that have made us see the ills and evils of the state. For some people, it may be very minor. Or comparative, it may be very minor. For other people, it's a life-altering instance, like a no-knock raid for a wrong house, or you had your business shut down because your neighbor complained about your signs outside. So my entry into the party, or my beginning with discovering liberty for myself, I find to be less relevant and less important. What I find to be important as a leader in the party is to find out what your issue is. How has government hurt you? How have you been impacted by the local policies or the state policies? How can I get you involved and get you to see more things? Because if I can get you on one issue, to say the state is bad, then I can start to show you other ways that the state is bad. But if I don't have that first thing, then I'm not going to get you. And my thing, being a gay man in Indiana, that ain't the thing here. We ain't known for that in Indiana. So that's not relevant to the people I'm talking to. Instead, I have to find that thing that pulls from them. And that was the success of the Rainwater campaign. This past election cycle. That campaign really started blowing up in September because of all of the restrictions that the governor kept putting in place because of COVID. Mask mandates, threatening businesses that if the health department didn't take your license, he was going to direct the Secretary of State to pull your business license, which he has absolutely no authority to direct the Secretary of State to do diddly. But those were the threats, and then they became real. It wasn't just hyperbole. There were businesses that were having their health departments permits pulled. The Yergley's Barbecue was one of them because an employee wasn't wearing a mask in the back. Those things were very real, and Don Rainwater captured that anger. It's not about masks are evil or wrong. It was about the government can't tell you to put that on your face. The government can't tell you that your church has to close. Your government can't tell you, mandate these things. If you want to do them voluntarily, or if you're a private business owner and you want to require everybody that comes in your property to wear a mask, that's your right. But the government has no authority to do that. And people in Indiana, being a conservative, mostly leave me alone state, became angry at the governor. The reason why the governor got the votes that he did was because Democrats couldn't vote for the Democrat, and they switched over to vote for the moderate Republican. So, that's finding that thing that connects with that group and, hitting on that and then using that to draw them in. Now the campaign's over. Donald Rainwater got 11.4% statewide in a three-way race. He was outspent, 50-1 at least. But Don and the Republican were the only two candidates to have TV and radio ads. The Democrat didn't. And Don got second place in 32 out of 92 counties. That is amazing. In one county, he got 29.7% of the vote in one county. Now it's on us. You found that one issue. We've got you. And it was a big one that got you to vote Libertarian. For the first time in your life, you voted Libertarian. Now it's incumbent on the state party and our county parties and our next candidates to keep you engaged, to keep you involved, and to start sharing the libertarian Kool-Aid with you a little bit more. We're not going to go from, mask mandates are evil in Indiana to, sex work is work. That's not going to work in Indiana. We have to find the next, libertarian thing that you're going to jive with and slowly start to feed you those nuggets of real liberty, not the pretend liberty that the Republicans have sold you. So that's where we're at now. And that's what we're capitalizing on and building that infrastructure and creating that movement on the local level so that our Secretary of State candidate, which is our ballot access candidate, can do the same or better than Dawn did. I'm shooting for better, but the same or better, and just blow it out of the way. If we do that, if we achieve that, if we just achieve that benchmark of what Dawn did with our SOS race, the Libertarian gets a seat on the county election board in 32 counties, while the Democrat has to sit from afar and watch us.
Right.
That's a game changer. Game changer. But we have to go out and we have to be able to be willing to put in the work and go and keep them motivated. So many times after an election or after a thing happens, we go, okay, thanks for your support. We'll see you again in 2 years. Bye. Thanks for coming out.
And that's where
they don't hear from us.
And that's where the affiliate process comes in, because ultimately a single state central party, if you will, organization, a board of directors, an executive committee, in a state as geographically, financially, spiritually, economically diverse as Indiana, simply can't do it all. It's up to, if you will, product development at the local level. And I like to refer to COVID as a terrible, tragic example of proof of concept, because a libertarian world might not have prevented COVID-19, but it certainly would have, if you will, buffered or diminished some of the impact by definition on how society, free enterprise, the individual interacts in a libertarian world. So talk to us about the party. I mean, the party's been active for a very long time. There are certain states where things come and go. The libertarian movement, at least to an outsider, has always been successful. What is the history of affiliate, the ebb and flow of affiliate development? Was there a high water mark? Right now you've got how many affiliates in place? 44, I believe.
Yeah, we just crossed the 44 county party threshold. At the end of the year, at the end of 2020, it was 25. Wow. And we worked to create these new 19 affiliates. And we're not just kind of like, hey, come be an affiliate, sign up the paperwork, and then go home and you're done. Like, these are active affiliates. Some of these folks, like Kevin Coriol in Jennings County, before he actually got voted by the state party to be affiliated, he found 3 candidates for an off-year election so that we could get our it's weird. We have to have 2 candidates on the ballot somewhere in the state each year to get the voter registration list. And this being an off year, there's only 3 elections, and they're in these really, really small towns and charter towns. And before he was even affiliated, he went and got those candidates and killed it, and it was just amazing. So these new Cassie Roland in Kosciuszko County, she's organizing people, getting people heavily involved. You've got just all over the state, these new 19 counties they have a passion. And before, the process was this, and this is still kind of the process. You want to be a county chair? You want to affiliate your county party? Cool. Find somebody on the state party board, the SEC, to put your name forward as a temporary chair. Then we're going to send you a 2-page form that tells you how to fill out all your paperwork, get your EIN, fill out your CFA3, get you a sample set of bylaws, and hold your organizing convention in 45 days after notice. And then if all that goes well and you send back all your paperwork to us, we'll vote to affiliate you. Do you know what a CFA3 is?
That one's a new one on me.
Yeah. If you're not in this game, you have no idea what a CFA3 is. Do you know how to get an EIN for a political organization? Because it's different than a business.
No, that I've done. I've had those magic moments. See, the other one you have to.
But if you've never done it before, just a sheet of paper telling you to go do those things doesn't help you.
Right.
And so most of the counties that would step up that wanted to affiliate over the past few years, they fall to the wayside because they don't know what they're doing. And, we weren't great about helping them. So now what we do is we have a mass appointment. So on January 6th December 6th, we appointed, the 21 temporary chairs for 21 different counties. And then we worked with them. We had video training sessions. We talked just about every day. Everybody was working together to get an idea of how to do this. How do you form your county party? How do you go through the affiliation process? How do you get people to come to your organization day? How do you recruit other officers? And we went through that and we worked together. So 19 of them were successful in holding their organization conventions and did all the work. Now they're working to become really, really strong super affiliates in the state. That's our process now. Now it's not you just come one county at a time. Now it's, hey, we're going to do a group of them together so that you're all rowing in the same direction together and working together as a team, and getting that direct support. We have our own group set up. And so that's why I feel very confident saying we're going to have all 92 counties affiliated by the end of the year, because it's not one county at a time. It's 10 or 15 or 19 counties at a time, all working together to achieve that success.
I pulled up a CFA 3 under the great state of Indiana. And what's important here is that they're drilling you from the get-go. It doesn't seem like you get a real honeymoon here, and that one or two people get together and organize and get a tax ID number and a bank account, and then we'll get to elections eventually. You've got to nail this stuff down right away. You've got to have a secretary or treasurer. They have to be sworn in, if you will, via this form. Another example of the duopoly, making it really easy for grassroots efforts to become overtly political in today's intensive focus, right? Wrong.
It's worse than that.
Go ahead, please.
If you fill out the CFA 3 and you contact your county clerk to file it, they're going to tell you, oh, that's the wrong form. You do the CAN 22, which is the form that you need for a candidate declaration. So if you're a candidate for office, you fill out the CAN 22. And I have to call the county clerk and be like, no. And they're like, no, I'm the clerk. I know the law. And I'm like, well, you don't, because you haven't had to have one of these filed in 30 years. So let me, very politely, let me tell you how you're wrong. Let me mansplain to you what you're doing wrong. And so we actually just, we said, listen, talk to your county clerk, build those relationships with your county clerk. If you have a positive relationship, you're going to get invited to election board meetings. You're going to be invited to put somebody on a committee, things like that. But file with the state, because it's real easy to do, and the state actually understands how to do it. And then send a notice to the county clerk. And so that's what we've been asking people to do. And that's been working really, really well. It makes it so much easier. But it's so discouraging if you're a new affiliate filling out your paperwork and you go to your county clerk with your paperwork and they're like, that's the wrong form. And they're like, but Evan told me this was the right one. And they're like, well, it's not. And then we have to explain to them that just because they're elected to office doesn't mean they're geniuses.
Well, and this is a critical point. First off, on a, and I won't say superficial, but on an initial level, you do need to maintain, despite our clear anti-authoritarian leanings, one might say, as libertarians, the sausage is made in terms of electoral politics in the back rooms of clerks' offices and county boards, which is why, by the way, I'm thrilled Sasha Cohen is running for the DeKalb, Illinois clerk's office. But we this past week on our candidates hour, we had Jen Moore from great state of Pennsylvania on, and she was talking about she was talking about the Moulton maneuver. And here's where the corollary is. Both of these issues that you've just talked about, a very articulate, accessible manner, I might add, sound really easy. And Jen Moore sitting out there filing hundreds of, if you will, literally candidate requests and responses and all that. It's just the way both of you characterize them. I wonder if I want to take a moment and recognize the sheer volume of work that's involved in that. Now, I'm not trying to scare people off here, but we're also trying to be realistic. We want to describe the environment with which you are operating and the attention to detail that folks like you need to have with regard to all of this. Because we all know, and we've heard the horror stories, that one misfiling, you're not going to get a lot of calls and say, Evan, listen, this was wrong. And I know you got a candidate running, and I know we could disqualify them, but we won't because it's the first time. And you don't get a lot of that. I'm just saying. The spirit that you had to develop to get people involved in this process. Talk to that for a minute, because I can't downplay that. It's a magnificent effort.
So, I mean, the biggest thing is, and I'm throwing myself under the bus here too, because I've been a member of the State Central Committee for 2 years now. But the biggest thing that we lacked in was communication with our membership and our contacts, and communication with our county parties. We weren't doing a great job of supporting them and talking to them. And that's what I've been focused on changing. So we have lots of emails going out statewide. We have membership emails going out. We have emails going out to new members. We have, all of our county parties are getting information about what's going on in the state party. And, that breeds excitement and momentum. If I don't tell you about our successes and our failures, then we're just an empty organization. If the only time you hear from us is every year when we send you the receipt for your $25 membership, you don't want to be a part of that organization. But if I send you information about how we beat a really crappy ballot access bill, that we outmaneuvered the Republicans in the State House, if I tell you about how we're forming a working group to take on veterans issues on the state level here in Indiana, if I reach out to you and talk to you about the 3 candidates that we just had run for the first time ever in a township race that took that township from 27 votes to 84 votes for the first time in their history. If I'm telling you about these things, but then also asking you what's going on in your county, what's going on in your district, and we're having a conversation and providing opportunity for training and growth, you want to be a part of that. You want to be part of that fight and that move to liberty. That's why you joined the party, because you want to rally and you want to be successful and you want to win. But if the only time you ever hear from us is after you've donated, you're not going to be involved.
Right.
No one wants to be involved in that. What's the point? I'm just giving you $25 a year. So a lot of our growth within the past couple of months has been because we've doubled down and tripled down on communication. Mm-hmm. I believe that I hear from our district reps who love the party and have always loved the party. And, they understand that our previous leadership is great. They were dedicated to the party. But as a volunteer organization, some things didn't get prioritized. And the things that didn't get prioritized often left those counties and the districts kind of feeling neglected or orphaned. Mm-hmm. And now they don't feel that way because I've shifted my priority. And my priority is communication. Because if I'm communicating with you and you're getting involved, then I can task you with this other thing over here so I don't have to do it.
Right.
Because you're amped up and ready to go. But if I don't have a volunteer base of highly active, highly motivated people, then I have to prioritize, and filing paperwork is going to be the priority. Now it's about communication so that you want to be active and then take a lead role.
So if I can give a little synopsis here as to where we are, the steps involved, if you will, are that first critical step, identification of key personnel on the ground in that county. Now that can result from either them reaching out to you reaching out to them by reputation, and then is the formation, if you will, of a committee who are able to then satisfy the statutory needs of the great state of Indiana, and all sarcasm included. In doing so, you almost have to have a rush to create that structure, if you will, the basic structure of any political organization: chair, secretary, treasurer, and file that paperwork. Now, throughout that process, is there a vetting? Is there a referral? I mean, again, you're very graceful in making it sound easy. We know it's not. What are the mechanics of that actually happening?
So I'm a big tent libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if you call yourself a libertarian, you're a libertarian. You may not agree with me on all the policies. It's incumbent on me to work with you to help you be better. And to help you have better rhetoric or better messaging for your issues, or to help you find a better libertarian solution to that issue. So I don't care what side of the fence you come from. I don't care if, I heard from a podcast a couple of weeks ago, somebody said that the LPIN was hostile to the Mises caucus. And I was heartbroken because I don't want anybody to feel like the state party is hostile to any caucus or any group. I don't care if it's the radicals, the audacious, just don't bring your dildos to our convention. Or, the Prague caucus or anybody else. I don't care. I don't care if you're not part of a caucus. I don't care how you got here. You're here. You are my brother and sister in the fight for freedom and liberty. I am going to work with you and I am going to help you. Now, there is a test that I give, which is, how committed are you? I tell you, I am notorious for talking people out of running for office. Previously, in my time as the LNCC executive director, there were state chairs who would ask me to talk people out of running for Congress or running for U.S. Senate, and to try to talk them into running for a smaller seat. I will tell you, you're not going to win. You have to have a different metric that's measurable and that advances the party and advances your brand and your name ID. And you have to be building that infrastructure. You have to be willing to put in the time. You have to be willing to do X, Y, and Z. So when I sit down and I talk to a potential county chair, I tell them what it means to be a county chair. And I don't sugarcoat it. And I'm like, it's easy. It's a cakewalk. I'm like, no. In 2022, you're going to have to find 15 candidates to run for office locally. We'll handle the ones that are nominated at the state convention, but you're going to have to find 15 candidates in your county, at least. These are the things that you're going to do. Here's what I expect of an active affiliate. I expect you to be holding a socializer every month, not a business meeting. Don't bring new people to a business meeting. Stop doing that, libertarians. Stop doing that. Have a socializer. Have something fun that has a subversive libertarian message hidden in the popcorn. Have a movie night. Show V for Vendetta. And then have a conversation about it. Join up with groups like America's Future. Used to be America's Future Foundation or something like that. Have policy discussions that are fun and relevant. Do something fun. Then volunteer with a local nonprofit. Find a charity that you sponsor for the next year, and every month your members go and do something for that charity. Do all of these things. Go to every government meeting in your county for the entire year. Be present at every single thing that you're doing. And if you do all of that, you will be a super affiliate. You will be successful. You will have people competing for your nomination for county offices. You will have electoral success. But if you want to be if you want to be the new county chair, you have to tell me you're willing to do some of that. Now, you're not going to do it alone. I'm going to help you do it. I'm going to help you set these things up. And we're going to help you find a team and recruit a team to help you do it. But as the chair in your county, it's your responsibility to make sure it all gets done. And if you can't do that, and if you can't commit to it, don't make this commitment to the party right now, because we don't want you to become affiliated and then a year later you're defunct. That was a waste of my time. That was a waste of the rest of the team's time. That was a waste of your members' time. We don't want that. I'd rather have an empty affiliate than an inactive affiliate.
By the way, everything you're suggesting sounds remarkably similar to actually running for office, because in a very real sense, an affiliate is running for office, and the office that they're looking to attain, if you will, is relevancy within that county, that city, whatever that region is politically, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so my approach, and the reason why I'm running for chair of the state party March 28th or March 27th. Feel free to come to the convention and vote for me. So, part of the reason why I'm running is because I'm the campaign guy. I view politics through campaigning, and I love campaigning. I love the adversarial spirit of it. I love the strategy. I like outmaneuvering your opponent. I like coming up with unique messaging for the crowd that you're in front of. Our state party and our county parties need to be run on a 4-year campaign cycle. We need to run like we're running for, governor of Indiana or U.S. Senate or, whatever we're running for. It has to be about a campaign. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a budget. You have to have a blueprint. You have to know how you're going to raise money. You got to know what you're going to focus your attention on. What are you going to target? What races are important? What resources are you going to have on the candidate and affiliate level and the district level? All of those things are part of campaigning. And if you're not looking at your state party like a campaign where you are trying to win, you're probably just a social club with members who talk about policy. Don't just talk about policy. Be prepared to implement it. Right. And to be prepared to implement it means you're campaigning. Be a campaign. Approach every day in every situation as though the state party was a candidate. And that's how you run.
Talk to me about the importance of activism, particularly within your party's history.
So, I look at specifically some of the older issues in the national party. I look at 1980 National Convention and the two guys arguing over the libertarian position against gun control. And one person was very kind of pragmatic about it and didn't want to scare the crap out of people. And the other guy was like, if they have nukes, I want nukes. And it was a reasonable debate. I think both guys were wearing suits. And that's the history of the party. We are the radical message. In the 70s and 80s and 90s, our ideology and our messaging and what we stood for was crazy. And I remember running campaigns in my hometown when I first met a libertarian running for city council. And I was like, that dude's insane. What is he talking about? Taxation is theft. What? That guy's crazy. Taxation is the price you pay for a civil society.
Oh, you hurt me there.
Yeah, that was that guy. But that messaging, that radical kind of in-your-face message. Ernie Hancock out in Arizona kept me to that. He would always ask me, "What's the radical message of your campaign? What are you doing today to build for the future for 20 years from today?" And that's why advocates and advocacy is so important now. Is we have to be advocating, one, for the radical, because the radical becomes mainstream in a generation or two. And we have to be that voice that champions it now. If you look at cannabis legalization, if you look at ending the war on terror, if you look at a lot of the issues that we have had over the years, criminal justice reform, ending no-knock raids, ending the drug war, all of that, immigration reform, open borders, the Democrats are carrying those messages. They're just doing a piss poor job of it because they don't fully understand them. They still want the state to control it. But they stole that from us. They used to say we were crazy for that. The Libertarian Party was the first party to support LGBT rights. And yes, the T was being talked about by the Libertarian Party. Trans rights and individual rights were being talked about by the Libertarian Party in 1978. The Democrats aren't even really on board with trans rights, right? That they should be treated equally under the law. So, we have to carry that spirit of what is the radical message today that becomes the mainstream opinion in the future, because we spent generations talking about it and making people listen to it. On top of that, now let's get granular, talking about advocacy.
Well, let me just jump in one point.
Go ahead.
I agree with you completely. I believe that we have to be radical to our core. One of the advantages of being radical to our core is that by definition, it attracts individuals who are excited by the fact that there are others that believe like them, that we need to be radical to their core. We're, in our heart of hearts, we're a Big Ten. But we're not looking for the moderates, really, are we? Deep down, we're looking for people with adventure in their hearts, in their souls. We're looking for people who are willing to challenge a society that seems to be hell bent if you will, on diminishing the rights of the ultimate minority, which is, of course, the individual. So it's my contention. I just want your reaction to this before we get on to the next step. It's my reaction and firm belief that by attracting radicals is that we're going to get a more committed, a more adventurous, a more supportive, a more aggressive libertarian to our party. What are your thoughts?
So, I think that you have to have the shotgun approach to how you recruit people and how you message, because I was not a radical. I was a, Bible thumping, gun toting, Christian conservative gay man in Indiana in the heart of a red state. I was not radical. I believed in gun control. I believed in taxation. I support the military. I literally had a yellow ribbon on my tree during the Gulf War. And so I was not radical. I just wanted to be left alone. I just wanted the government to not tell me that I can't put a sign in my yard, or that I have to use this type of, AC unit, or, that I can't run a business out of my home because I need a permit because I might get packages delivered to my house, God forbid. And, that was my wake up to libertarianism, and to realize that the other parties were lying about liberty. As I came into the party, I was the guy who was like, oh, some gun control is good. I mean, maybe certain people shouldn't have a gun. Maybe we should have, terror watch lists, and the people on the no-fly list shouldn't be able to have a gun, and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm that guy who's like, if they have one, I want one. They have bioweapons. I should be able to develop my own bioweapons, I support, like, I go and I give talks about gun control and the history of it and its roots in racism and slavery. And I talk, I said earlier, it's hard to get gay bashed if you have a 45 on your hip. But then I go into, communities of color, and I talk about the Black Panthers and how they were armed defenders of their communities, protecting them from murderous police, which, wow, that was 50 years ago. And not much has changed, except for you're going to get shot if you're standing on the street corner protecting your neighborhood. So, I talk about those things. So I was not a radical when I joined the party. I became more radicalized, and I'm actually a prag. I'm a dirty, dirty prag. But there's a place. Everybody needs to look at it and say there's a place to have each of those points. I support the Audacious Caucus because they're the extreme. They keep us real honest. Radicals are the ones that are developing the future policy. The prags are the ones that get shit done. So we have to have all of those voices at the table, and not one of them is better than the other. One isn't better at recruiting members and candidates than the other. There's going to be different people that need to hear a different thing. If you came to my grandfather with a radical message about sex work is work, he's not going to listen to you, and he's not going to take you seriously. But if you're talking to him about ending property taxes, he's going to listen to that. If you're talking to him about constitutional carry, he's going to listen to you. But when you start going to the radical message, he doesn't care. He doesn't want to hear that. But if we only speak that radical message to people, you're going to miss that guy. And you're going to deny him the opportunity to grow into liberty. I would rather we have the shotgun approach to messaging that allows everybody, regardless of where they are on the liberty train, to get on board to Libertopia.
Now, you were before I interrupted you, you were talking about specific levels of activism.
Yeah. So, being involved I was a lobbyist. And did a lot of work in the legislature, and being involved, whether it's on the local level, on the state level, on the federal level, being involved with an issue and going and advocating for that thing. We had a bill this session, HB 1134, that was retaliation against our success, against Don Rainwater's success. They wanted to add the signatures that you need to get into the primary. They wanted every candidate seeking the nomination at convention to have to get those same signatures, which is dumb. Dumb.
Right.
And instead of just throwing our hands up and going, oh, no, that sucks. We're going to go to court and sue you. That's not fair. Wah. We fought back. We engaged our members. We came up with a plan. We did something. We outmaneuvered the Republican. We found a Republican ally who thought this was scummy, who didn't like what was happening. And he put an amendment forward for us. And he said, what amendment do you want? And we said, well, we want something that gives them what they want because they think they want this. And we know the law and they don't really want this, but they think they do. We'll give them what they want. We'll do the signatures. But we want an automatic seat on every county election board and the state election board. You're going to make us act like we're part of the primary. We want a seat on the election board. It was very reasonable. It was very rational. And the Republican caucus was split. Some of them were like, not a chance in hell, so I can't vote for the bill because it'll look me petty if I vote for the bill without the amendment. And the other half was like, I'm only going to vote for the bill if the amendment's included because it's reasonable and rational. They're not just saying no. They came up with an answer. That kind of activism, where you're not just throwing things at people, where you're not just hurling insults, where you're actually doing the work, crafting an amendment, crafting legislation, organizing an event, getting people from other organizations to coalesce around a single issue. Doing all of that is how we move the message when we don't have the electoral seat. And people see that. People see, it was in the press multiple times that we were winning in the legislature without actually being in the legislature. That created growth. Now, when we come on board and say, hey, you talked about you wanted to do this because you wanted fairer elections. Well, we've pointed out through this process how the system is actually rigged, and you got called out on it. Would you like to work with us on making the system actually fair? Because let's do that. And now, like, we have a working group on veterans issues, which I won't talk a whole lot about because it's brand new. But there are some serious deficiencies in how our state treats veterans. While I may not like tax money going to just about anything, and people may disagree with me on this, whether you like the war, you like military action, regardless of, I don't. I want all of those bases closed. I want everybody home. I want a lot of that to end completely. Cut the military budget by like 95%. However, when you enlist, you sign a contract, and that contract has certain benefits assigned to it when you serve. And I believe, as a libertarian, that we must uphold those contracts with those people. And the state has failed to uphold its contract. And so we're putting a work group together to organize other veterans organizations in the state of Indiana to rally with us to be a political voice, to say, hey, listen, we don't have anything to lose. It's not like you can take away our legislative seats. We ain't got any. So we could just be a total pain in your ass. And we're going to be at the legislature. We're going to be talking to the governor. We're going to be on the news, and we're going to be pushing these issues because the other two parties won't. And so we'll be that voice. We'll be that champion for that cause. And that type of advocacy moves the message. I guarantee you within 1 year of us having this work group going, we're going to see changes into the state and how the state treats veterans in Indiana. I guarantee it because we'll be loud and active.
Now, have you mobilized those efforts on a bottom-up basis, if you will, from the affiliate level to the state level? Are the affiliates actually empowered individually then to go out and address these prioritized issues by the Libertarian Party of Indiana?
So, I mean, obviously, if it's the state legislature, we're probably going to take that focus with the LPIN. But locally, your local government is where you get screwed the most. That's where the zoning comes in. That's where these local TIF districts come in, tax increment financing. That is where you are screwed the most, is by your the most local government. And so, the county party is boots on the ground in that area. It's them, it's their neighbors, it's their friends, it's their coworkers who are being impacted by that. I can come in and I can give you the tools. I can give you the training on how to do it. We can talk about messaging and marketing, and I can answer some of those questions, like, how do you market this message? I mean, you're talking about it's for the kids. It's a school board tax increase. Evan, how do we do this without saying like we hate kids? Like, and so I can help you do that. But you're the ones in the county that have to do the work on it because it's your county, it's your neighbors, your community. You don't want me from the cesspool of Indianapolis, the seat of state government, coming down to your rural town to dictate how you're going to fight school funding. Like, no, that's not going to work. I'm an outsider. I'm a northerner, flatlander. We actually have that in Indiana, hill country and flatland.
No, I've actually driven across a good section. One of the things that folks don't realize about Indiana, in southern Indiana, I've been to the outer rim of it, is the largest, I believe, munitions depot in America is in
Gray Naval Base.
Right, southern Indiana, and the reason why you can't get close to it is because they got a whole lot of munitions there. So it's that's what I mean. It's an incredibly diverse environment, ranging from sophisticated university to to the Rust Belt in Gary, to the to the capital city in Indianapolis, to where across the state, agricultural. And that's why I'm fascinated by your ability to roll this out. We've only got a couple minutes left, but I also want to talk about Get Out the Vote effort. You had you had affiliates in place. You had a dynamic candidate running at the top of the ticket, as well as people on the down ballot. Is Get Out the Vote coordinated within the campaign? Is it coordinated by the state party? And how much of that is driven to the affiliate structure?
So it has to be all encompassing. If the candidate is running Get Out the Vote by themselves, they're gonna hit a wall. And if the state party is doing it without any of the support of the candidates, they're going to hit a wall. And likewise with the county party, you have to all be rowing in the same direction. So like the state party can have resources, which is what we have. We have eCanvasser. We have a large license for eCanvasser that we can roll out to the county or to the individual candidates. Our political director loads up your data for your walk area and your volunteers. All of those things. Our phone banking, is managed on the state level, but the county parties and the candidates have access to it. So all of those things, like we provide the tools and the training and the help crafting the message, but you have to be the ones that put it in place. My job is to help build the tool and the infrastructure. You have to actually get on the road and drive the damn car. Mm-hmm. I can't drive the car for you. Point in fact, I've never had a license in my life, so I'm never going to drive the car for you. But that's the key, is that all three, and actually four, because we also have districts in Indiana. So we have, and so some of our districts are absolutely amazing. Shout out to the 8th district, best district in the state. Suck at everybody else. The other 7, you need to do better. But likewise, Morgan County, which is in the 9th district, is one of our best counties. They kill it and crush it. Thank you to Danny and the team down there for being great. Micah Haynes and Jay Solomon on the 8th district. But so it's state party, district, county candidates all have to be working together. We provide the tools and the training and the resources. The district reps help coalesce all of the people working with the county that's recruited the candidates and the local messaging, and then the candidates going out and doing it with the volunteers, and everybody working together to do it and being accountable to each other. That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. We provided this a couple of years ago to candidates. We said, hey, we're going to give you eCanvasser and we're going to load it all up for you if you want it. You let us know if you want it. And we had many candidates say, oh, yeah. And I'm going to go knock on doors. I'm going to get volunteers. We're going to go and do this. And like 3 out of like 30 actually used it. So now it's on us as the state party to say to the district reps and the county chairs, hey, your candidate isn't doing the thing. Why aren't they doing the thing? Let's figure out where's the disconnect here. Oh, you don't know how to use the thing. Cool. Let's work together to teach you how to use the thing. You don't like the thing. What would you like better than the thing? What would help you accomplish the goal the thing is supposed to accomplish? Let's do that. You can be a special snowflake. We'll help you. As long as you're communicating, as long as we're having a back and forth, we will find a way to provide the thing for you so that you can be successful. That's the key. But it requires everybody working together, not top down, but together on an equal footing. The state party is no better than the district, is no better than the county, and is no better than the candidate. We are all on the same footing, working together to achieve those goals, which is a world set free in our time.
Excellent. Wow.
I love to talk.
No, and there's a reason why that you guys, the folks in Indiana, you guys and gals, are enjoying this kind of success. It's you folks are, imagine, the ultimate example of what some people would refer to as a 10 or 15 year overnight success.
Right.
Folks are recognizing at the highest level, at a topside level, the fruits of a lot of labor put in by a lot of folks, and there's a plan. And it literally, it would appear every aspect of the Indiana Party, starting from the newest of affiliates and how they're, conceived,
This is
birthed,
actually
recognized.
This is actually our strategic plan right here. This is an 8-year long plan that we have for all of the things that we need to do so that we can win top level statewide races within 8 years. You can't just talk about it. You can't just sit and philosophize. You have to create a plan and a strategy, and then you have to put it in action and do it and work for it. And if you're putting in that effort, I guarantee you people will be energized and motivated, and they will want to come on board, giving one of three things: their time, their treasure, or their voice. One of the three or all three of the things. But you have to start with a plan. You can't just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope that it's going to stick. You got to plan it out. You got to know how you're going to get there. And once you have that plan, you've got to go out and actually do the thing. Do the thing. Plan the thing, do the thing.
And I would imagine it goes without saying that while social media at times can help you if you will, invest energy in that plan, and it can disseminate information about that plan, it's by definition, it's not going to be happening by people sitting on social media, pontificating, arguing. It takes feet on the street time. It takes meeting time. It takes individual efforts in the wee hours of the night's time. It takes all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook, social media, Instagram, Twitter, those are great for specific small market segments, but there's a lot of noise out there. There's, you have, I say this all the time. I've got like 4,000 friends on Facebook, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I had cancer." And I'm like, "Man, I didn't know. I didn't see it on Facebook because you didn't pop up in my feed when you were battling cancer." And I feel horrible about that. But people miss things on Facebook. They don't see everything that happens. And then there's nuance and tone and tenor that are missed on Facebook and social media. It's why I hate sending critical text messages to people, because it's always going to make me look like a jerk. I'd rather call and talk to you on the phone and have a real conversation instead of you maybe walking away thinking I hate you or that you did a really bad job. So the number one thing about campaigning is personal interaction, one-on-one connection. And you can achieve that in a crowd of 5,000 people on a stage. It takes some talent to do that, but it is very doable.
Right.
But one-on-one personal connection, that's the answer to campaigning. And you don't get that on social media. It's too groupthink. So you need to be prepared to, I used to tell candidates all the time, if in this election cycle you don't wear out 3 pairs of tennis shoes, you didn't work hard enough because you didn't knock on enough doors. And it's the same is true for a state party. If you're the chair, if you're as a district rep, if you're an officer and you're not wearing out a pair of shoes, every 6 months, you're not working hard enough, because you should be out there knocking on doors, going to business meetings, going to neighborhood associations, going to school board meetings, going to zoning meetings, going and doing the thing every chance you possibly can get, and then having other people assigned to doing those things. And if you do that, then you'll be successful. But even in the age of COVID, Don's campaign, and it was actually, I think it was Danny Lundy's idea, if memory serves me correct. He'll believe me, he's in the comments. He'll tell you in a minute if it was his idea. They did a thing where they were going to go deliver information about Don Rainwater door to door. And they posted photos of their volunteer team wearing masks, putting together packets of information with gloves. And they put a little note in there that said, "We respect your privacy and your safety, so we're not knocking on your door. We're leaving you this information on Don Rainwater." That was brilliant. That was great. Even during the and this was in the middle of the lockdown. This was in the craze of the craze. And they found a way to still go door to door. And they got contacted by people, you know?
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we've entered that portion of the program on our Candidates Corner where we talk about shameless self-promotion. Let's give folks an opportunity, if you will, give them a few links, a few ideas as to where they can find out more about the Libertarian Party of Indiana, particularly if they are Indianans. Is that the right word? How do you pronounce it?
Hoosier.
That was a movie, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Okay. But just as importantly, if folks want to read about or learn more about your experiences and how they can reach out to you in your efforts to colonize, if you will, a great part of Indiana and the goal is, you know, by this next election to have an affiliate literally at every county level, which is astonishing and nothing but the best in it. But give folks a chance to how they can reach out to you and or the party at large.
So if you want to get a hold of me, development@lpin.org, at least for a little while. That's going to be my email address. May change on March 27th. And I will tell you, I'm really busy. I'm working, 16 hours a day for the party. So you'll get a response from me and it may be, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you. Can we talk in 2 weeks?" Unfortunately, but I will get back to you. I will talk to you. I'm open and willing to talk to anybody across the country on how we can help make the party better and get candidates elected. For more information on the state party, it's lpin.org. If you'd like to join, click that top join button up in the right hand corner of the state party page. We have lots of benefit options, membership types. You get these wrong lapel. You can get these wonderful pens from the state party by joining at different tiers. And stalk us on, as much as I just said, don't use social media. We're on all the social media channels, and you can reach us there. I'm one of the people that we have a team of people who respond, and I'm also one of them. Yeah, that's how you get a hold of me. That's the state party. Always willing to help. If you have a question, shoot me an email, and I'm happy to help. And our entire state party is the same way. So
before we say goodnight, where can we see some of your movies?
So Curdled.tv would be a great place to go and become a member. It's free to subscribe at Curdled.tv. You can also download the app, available on Android and iPhone. It's kind of like Shudder, if you're familiar with Shudder, but it's free because it's ad supported. And it's a great way to support independent horror filmmakers who don't get the recognition and funding that some of the bigger companies, bigger studios get.
Well, excellent. Evan McMahon, you are truly a Renaissance man here in Indiana. You're the development director for the Libertarian Party of Indiana. First of all, congratulations to the entire LPIN crew for all of your efforts, your successes. Of course, a shout out to Mr. Rainwater, who ran a truly noble campaign that drew on national attention. The halo effect, I think, which will continue to be in place for many, many years to come because of your efforts, the folks in Indiana efforts, Mr. Rainwater's efforts. There are folks who are exploring concepts of liberty that, well, simply seemed antithetical to them before. I mean, they just simply weren't within their perspective. So in that manner, you folks continue to change lives and help us to that goal of liberty in our lifetime. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night, and let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Good night, folks. Listen, this was our inaugural effort. We hope you'll join us on Monday nights, 9:00 Eastern, as we invite folks from literally every affiliate, every libertarian affiliate on the planet. And we mean on the planet. That means you folks down in South America. That means you folks in Europe. That means all of you in Canada. We learn together. We grow together. We create liberty together. Big thanks, of course, as always. This has been, Affiliates Corner. Big thanks to the Libertarian National Committee. Valerie Sarwak, she is the chairperson if you will, of the Affiliate Support Committee. She was a prime motivator behind the creation of this show, and I enjoy working with them and the entire Affiliate Support Committee. And of course, our chairperson, Joe Bishop Henchman. Folks, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next Friday night on Candidates Corner. See you soon.